welcome to the 28th episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast with AJ from Crafted in NJ and me, Josh from North Country Woodworking. Hey man, what's going on?
I don't know, but you see that behind? You hear that behind you?
Yeah, I think it's my dog.
No, I think that that's bigger than your dog, bro.
Oh, wait. I think someone's entering my house. Hold on.
Open the door.
Oh, jeez. It's just Nick. Nick, come on in, man.
Hey,
what
man.
What are you doing here?
Oh, so hey, I need to know where you want me to put all my stuff. I'm moving in.
Excuse you?
Yeah, so I got all my tools in the truck, and I'm moving in. This is Sawdust Nation,
I'll
right?
take the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is yes.
Oh yeah. Well,
Permanently.
anyway, I'm glad to be here again. You know.
Is this permanent?
Well, hopefully.
Oh, okay. I wasn't on this memo.
I'm just an uninvited guest. Again.
I don't think we're going to be able to kick him out this time, man.
No,
I think he's
don't
here to
believe
stay.
so. He's got a professional mic now, so he's definitely here to stay.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I actually ordered this on Amazon and waited like 10 days for this to come. So, anyway.
You're not lying. Oh, jeez.
The Christmas rush.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So, I guess, well, let me...
Well, the cat is out of the bag.
We said AJ, we said myself, and our third host, Nick from NPG Creations.
Hey guys, I'm Nick from MPG Creations, and I'm glad to be here. You guys want to know what's going on in my shop?
No, we want to hear from AJ.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You have to wait.
Yes,
You're gonna have to learn the ways.
It's okay. You'll settle in nice. Did you bring the Powermatic for Josh?
Yeah, I rode the Powermatic scooter all the way over here.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen.
So anyway, yes, this is episode 28, and we want to thank a few of our sponsors for sponsoring this show and believing in all of us. Total Boat has been sponsoring the show for a little bit now. They've been nothing but great to us. Their products are hands down the best stuff I've used, and I would say this even if we weren't getting sponsored by them, because I use it in my shop. I know Josh does, and I'm not sure if Nick does, but he's going to be.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get on that Total Boat.
I'm telling you, man, it's definitely the Halcyon, some good stuff for any outdoor applications that you need. I love this stuff. It hasn't let me down yet, and neither has their epoxy. So definitely go check out Total Boat. It's definitely close to us in the shops, and we'll be soon in. Well, now that you're at Josh's place, I mean, he's got a ton of Total Boat stuff. So just have at it.
No, AJ, we have a ton of Total Boat stuff.
This might get weird.
This was a quick marriage on this one. So
yeah, wait. How's this gonna work? Wait, we gotta work some stuff out real quick.
I don't know. You're gonna be sleeping. Never mind. Anyway, so we also want to thank StickerBeat for sponsoring the show as well. They got some great products, and they do a lot more than just stickers and decals. I didn't know this until recently, but you can get packing tape with your logo on it. I keep saying it because it's still amazing to me. I want to order some, but I don't know if people really want to see that package with my logo on it yet. But if you use the promo code Sawdust Nation, no space, you get 20% off your entire order, and they use high quality 3M vinyl for all their decals. And let me tell you, they stick to anything and will not come off. And Josh has proved that with throwing his cup in the dishwasher. He's got them on the back of his car. I have them all over the shop. There's some great stickers. And if you need to change it out for some reason, they come off nice and easy and leave no residue behind. So thank you, Total Boat, and thank you, StickerBeat. And Nick, I have to know, what's in your shop?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. I've got a lot of stuff going on in the shop right now. We've got flags coming out. We've got tabs coming out. My X-Carve has been running nonstop. Since I am moving shops here in the next month or so, for those of you that don't know, I will be moving to Texas. I will have a larger shop, thank goodness. However, I have to shut things down in order to get packed up to go. So I'm running on all cylinders, trying to get everything out the door as fast as possible with the same quality that I always produce. But as of right now, I just had to take a break for tonight's podcast, and I wouldn't want to miss this opportunity with you guys. But
Definitely.
Other than that, I sliced my finger open the other day. I would like to thank Tormek for the opportunity to give them a shout out. I sharpened my chisel so darn sharp, and I just grazed my finger with a wood chisel by accident. Obviously, I wasn't pushing the chisel. I just swiped my hand across an area where my chisels were hanging, and it felt like I scratched myself, and that was it.
Jeez.
Walked away, pools of blood on the floor. So I'm good to go. I got the handy dandy, Maxine
blue
pad
tape.
with the blue tape around it. Of course, I soaked it in some of that, saline solution first, and that's all I really got going on in my shop. What about you, AJ? What's going on in your shop?
Well, before I get to that, I have to ask, are you driving down to Texas?
That's correct. I will be
Okay.
driving to Texas.
Get a generator, hook up the CNC, mobile CNCing.
Oh, geez.
I'll like do a barnstorming tour where I
Yeah.
stop in each large town and carve something for that town.
You can either do it, or while you're on the road, you could just be in the back playing around with the CNC, and somebody else could be driving.
Yeah, because that's going to end so well.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a square up on my XY axis for that, but that's a good thought. That's a good thought. Like almost like when
He's
Steve-O
thinking
got,
outside the box.
almost like when Steve-O got that off-road tattoo.
Yes,
That's how my
that-
carves are going to turn out.
Someone might pay for it. You never know.
You never know. So anyway, but in my shop, it's the same stuff over and over again. I got more flags than I can count. I can only count to 5, so I don't know what comes after that.
Give you some credit. You've gotten to 14 before.
I don't know how I did that because I don't remember it, but I must have just guessed.
Blacked out.
But I got flags. I think I got right now I got 7 of them that are carved out that need to be sanded. 1 more that needs to get stained, and I think I have 4 more that have to get built and then carved. I also have a small coffee cup rack, not as big as the one that I did make. I never posted that up because I didn't get any good pictures of it. Got some welcome signs that I got to make. I got to redo a sign that someone had bought, but not from me. They bought it from another maker because it was actually a guy who carved out the statues out of a tree stump, and he made a sign, but she typed the name wrong. So because she was doing voice to text. So what happened was it didn't come out the way she wanted it, and she messaged me. She said, "Hey, can you throw it on the CNC and make something to replace this the right way?" And I went, "Yeah, that's no problem." So I got that in the works. And while I'm doing all this, I'm also learning Fusion 360. I'm trying to convert a little bit over to that aspect because I want to design some things that I can print out on the 3D printer. And then also I want to learn tool paths in there so I can design something and then send it right to the CNC, because I learned that if you have the free version of Fusion 360, you can't export to Vectric, which was kind of a bummer. But you live and learn, right? So other than that, I have 2 Etsy orders, 2 more actually. I think I'm up to 5 so far.
You are. You're doing well.
So I got a guitar stand that's going to be shipped out probably tomorrow. So after this recording, I got to go put it together and then get it packaged up. And then I got another coat rack that somebody messaged me about on Etsy. Asked if I could make it this way, that way, the other way, with extra hooks, a different carve. And of course, I like money. So yeah, I said yes. And that'll be going to Cali. And I don't know if I mentioned it on here last time, but I got a flag that I'm making that's going to Canada. First Canada sale.
You don't say there, eh?
Yes. I'm not as worldwide as Nick, as we learned from the previous episode. But I'm getting there. Slowly but surely. And now dead air.
That's outstanding.
I was waiting for something. I was waiting for somebody to say something. But anyway, besides my boring shop, what's going on in your shop, Josh?
Well, it's about the same as last week. Reorganizing the shop, getting it pretty much where I need it and want it. Changing things up, trying to make it flow better. And with that, my, couple weeks of having off is done. So I'm starting to work on some orders that I got in. Got a stove topper, spice rack, coin display. I might have a wine cabinet of sorts coming up. Waiting to hear back from that. Some bow holders. And then some things I'm still pricing out, so I'm not going to, announce them yet because, well, who knows if they're going to, bite it and place the order. So just, working on the orders and trying to knock those out. Nothing's really in a hurry. I got one that's due out by the 10th, but that's the stove topper and the spice rack.
Okay.
And that's pretty straightforward. They want some lettering on there, so I'll probably use either the CNC or just the maker and get some decals on there depending on what they exactly want.
Nice.
Or the laser, who knows? Have some options. So we'll give them the options and see what they want. No. Probably the decals, probably where they're going to go for, because in the past that's pretty much where they go.
Okay.
Been running the 3D printer. Got some stuff off there, making stuff for the shop. Just some things I've made out of wood that, you could better 3D print. So I've been learning some Fusion myself and just modifying some already created things off Thingiverse. Go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah, two of them. I'm going to touch on that 360 real quick. I did not know you can actually do that. You can download something from Thingiverse and tweak it?
Yeah, you can import it into Fusion, and then you can start tweaking it from there. Now, I haven't gone crazy with it. I haven't really, totally redesigned something. But I've done stuff like been printing out those Pokemon for my son, and I've added bases or, just moved them around. And what else did I do? I did a hanger for the shop, and it was a tape hanger, and it needed an extra support, so I added an extra support in there for it because I use it for my extension cords. I have made a place for a magnet in the back so I can put it on my toolbox, and one of my orange cord hangs on that, and the other one I made 2 screw holes in there that recessed and went into the wall. So it's been very little stuff.
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I had a quick question. If you guys are still talking about Fusion, go for it. I'm backing up a little further.
I might actually have to contact you, Josh, because I have something that I messaged somebody on Thingiverse to revamp for me, since I don't know how. And it's for the miter saw. I want to get a dust collection port that's for that miter saw, but to a 4-inch hose. He has it to a 2.5. So it shouldn't be too bad to do. Maybe just delete one part and then add a 4-inch hose adapter. Maybe.
It might be easier for that to recreate it entirely.
The only thing is, I believe I'd have to see how he did it. Because he actually did it so it would fit into the Bosch, because it's got like two spots where a clip goes into. So he actually made a recess. Okay. Yeah, it's just not like a port to a port. It's actually the 2.5 to this special adapter that Bosch uses. And he also put a ring around it so that you can take this red clip off the bag, put the clip onto that, and then it actually locks it all together. So that's why.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
But I'll download it and throw it in. Do you have to do anything special for it to go into Fusion, or you just download it and then open it up?
You just basically import it.
Okay, good to know. Now on to Nick's question.
Yeah, Josh, I was wondering, when you make your stove toppers, do you make them so the flat portion sits up off of the coils, or do you make them so they sit on the coils? Because I have to believe there's a safety issue if it's sitting on the coils and somebody makes a mistake of laying that thing on the stove.
Well, it's really up to the buyer. Now, I personally have the one that goes on the coils, but obviously we wait until it's cold and then we throw it up on there. And it's the first thing you do is you take it off before you turn it on. The one I am making does go on the coils because that's what they wanted. But I have no problem making one that goes up and over the coils. Now, you live in the same kind of housing I do, and our coils are a little bit higher than they were at one point.
Yeah.
And I was actually worried about that when I first started this, because I designed them one way and we got the new coils. Long story short, I still have the same way as I did in the beginning. It works just as good because I use mine as a test, and people still like them like that. So to answer your questions, either way, it's up to the customer. Especially if they're on our base, it's very easy to make them because I know the measurements. They're already written down. So, because we all have the same stove. So, yeah, it's really, once they purchase it and it's on their stove, it's up to them to be safe. You know what I'm saying?
What is the point? I've heard them called noodle boards, I believe, because they used to be used to make pasta and whatnot. But what is the functionality of it in today's time? Because I have no idea.
So, I mean, you can use it for almost anything. I've used it as like a serving platter. So there's handles that usually come with them. At least I install them on there. And I put cheeses and stuff on there, and just right, on the coffee table or whatever. I've used it to almost like a cutting board for veggies.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or just extra counter space. Our kitchens are not really that big. So getting that little extra space in there helps.
Okay.
Some people put decorative stuff on top of them. You could use them as a, surface for baking or whatever. I always prep them with food grade, like Wally oil or Odie's or something that they can use food on it and not worry. So in the long run, I mean, it's up to the customer how they want to use it, but I prep them almost like a cutting board. I just don't use hardwood for these. It's a softwood of some sort.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, wait, softwood? What are you using, pine?
Yeah, I use usually pine for these.
Okay. And
My wife loves these things, by the way.
Really?
She loves
I'll send her my way.
She loves anything like that you can add to the stove or in the kitchen that says like home, family, farmhouse, all that stuff. So, yeah, she told me to make one at one point, and I was like, I can't do that because you'll leave the stove on and put it back on.
Yeah, honestly, we've never had a close call. It's a pretty big item. It's hard to miss. It's not like it's the same color or see-through or anything. So it's
they put the pot on top of it and then turn the burner on.
I mean, at some point, it's on the customer. I'm sure they could blame me somehow, but it's pretty straightforward. Even the ones that go up and over the coils, that coil will get hot enough eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no going away from a certain amount of danger. But yeah, I mean,
yours electric stoves, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they are.
So, I mean, at least you have more time to react with it because of the electric, but especially if it's up and over. Now, if it's sitting on it, then yeah, that thing's just going to light up like a cigarette lighter. But if you have an open flame on your stove, then you might even smell it a little bit sooner if it's, even still up and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of times you see the thicker ones, the higher ones, they usually are for the gas stoves and whatnot. But I mean, these are nice to make. They're fairly simple. I don't just throw on the slats and then nail the two sides down. I actually joint the entire thing so it's one solid piece. Some people out there, they won't do that, and there's a gap. But, it's all on how you want to produce your product. Yeah, I do use pine, but it keeps it cheap enough where people still buy them. Because if I did a cherry, it would be a little more expensive. And there are still certain items where if I mark them up, people are just not going to buy them.
Why no ash?
Well, I'm actually running really low on ash. And funny story, Nick actually picked up some more ash for me so I can complete a project.
Nice.
So I need to go out and get some more ash from Newjerseywoodforever. They actually have a pretty good supply right now of pretty much all the hardwoods. And they have a kiln getting set up down there, and it's becoming a real. It's always been a real good business, but I mean, like, they're stepping it up, and they're stepping it up fast. So I like to stop by there sometime in the future and check them out and see how they're doing. I've been using another lumber yard while they were working some stuff out, but you know,
Was that the one I go to?
Kiln. Yeah, Diamond Lumber.
Yeah, Diamond Lumber. So when I went to go pick up your wood, I had to sift through. They've got a lot of inventory, but I ended up. It was a nice piece of ash. I'm serious. It was a.
It was a little rough on certain ends, but it was pretty nice. The grain was just beautiful.
But it wasn't cupped or anything. I tried to get the flattest piece of ash.
Yeah, it's pretty flat. Definitely usable. I haven't really messed with it too much because it's a pretty nice piece, but I'm gonna get it together.
If you rub some Odies on it, it'll become nice and smooth.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough right now, but a little sanding will get that nice piece of ash ready.
Oh, my God. Why is it so, like, kindergarten funny?
It's just wood, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nick's crying over there. Oh, boy.
Hey, I think it was only $35 for, like, whatever it was. So, I mean, it was worth it. You know, it's kiln dry, too.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and get cut into it and
cut into the what, Josh?
Cut into the ash.
How many
children?
How many board feet?
I don't know.
It's 4/4, I think.
Yeah, it's
4/4 by how long? If you don't,
6 feet, I think.
6, yeah, maybe 7. But and then there's a good chunk taken out of the ash, so I have to cut that piece off and use the rest of it. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get into that and get that done here sometime this week.
I got to run to I'm actually making a flag, but I can't say for who because I do know that they check when we mention them. But the flag, I got it all done, and then the customer contacted me and said, "Can you make a mount for an AR, actually an M4?" And I was like, and it's on a wavy flag. This will be a very first. I've never done anything like this. And so now I have to try doing that and incorporate it into the waves. So that was one last thing that I completely forgot about. And speaking of ash, I got to get some probably 6/4 at one time so I can make some wavy flags with it, because all the stuff that I have is like just under an inch thick, and I need at least an inch and a half, for the 3-foot flags. So,
well, what about laminating what you have?
Because of my horrible OCD, if I have too many lines in it and there's more than 13 stripes, if I see that, it's not gonna fly with me. Because if I see a line within the red stripe, I won't like it. Yeah,
I just meant like laminating too. How big do you typically you rip your boards up and then you marry them back together?
Yep. It'll be if it's a 3-foot flag, each board is 1.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches thick, and then of course 13 of those, glue them up. So then I get what you're saying, and I've been toying around the idea of just laminating a few pieces together to make it 1.5 inches wide, but just having that line in the center of that stripe would kill me.
Yeah,
I'm weird. I know. Welcome to the show, Nick. I'm the weird one over here.
You'll learn.
Oh man.
So anyway, Josh,
I'm still wiping the tears up.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, AJ. I'm trying to pretty much get rid of the pine in the shop. I'm actually buying just enough to make certain projects. And, with this project, I should have barely no scrap, and the scrap I do have is going to be unusable. And that's one of the ways I've actually reorganized my shop is I've gotten rid of a lot of the scrap I had, a lot of it. And, the majority in my shop right now is hardwood. with the exception of the stuff I'm using for this job and some other projects I'm trying to knock out and maybe add Etsy later this week.
Okay, cool. Well, I believe we hit it on the head on this one. So I believe, Josh, you have a voice recording from someone, correct?
Yeah, we have a question in from Trails Custom Woodworks, and it's about shop drinks. So let me pull that up real quick, and we'll play that for you.
Hi guys, it's Trails Custom Woodworks here with another weekly question. My question for you this week is on what you have for your shop drinks. When I say shop drinks, I mean non-alcoholic drinks. So like a pop or whatever. And the second part to the question is, what do you listen to while you are working in the shop? Have a good week, guys.
Well, Nick, since you're joining us here officially for the first time, let's toss it your way.
Well, I haven't called it pop in a long time. But no, I don't drink pop too much. I do drink a lot of Monster, though. So Copenhagen and Monster keep the shop running. On top of that, I usually listen to Sawdust Nation while I'm working. So I guess I'm going to have to find something new. But no, sometimes I'll throw a movie on and keep it in my headphones. And, obviously I can't watch it, but I can kind of follow along with things going on.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it. What about you guys?
I'll take it. Let's see. Well, it depends. I play music quite often. I have Alexa in there, so I'll throw it up. But if I'm running the CNC, I can't even do stories, so I usually bring my headset in there and I'll listen to it in my headset, which helps, pass the time. I use ISO tunes a lot when I'm in there. They're good for that purpose. But sometimes if I'm listening to like a movie, I'll go ahead and I'll bring my other headphones in there. And somewhat what Nick does, I have it on in the background. I'll stop, I'll watch a scene or two and continue. Most of the time, those movies are something I've seen 1,000 times or shows. It's not something new I want to pay attention to. So I'm not, gonna, take away from what I'm doing. But drinks, it's water, coffee, pop. I drink seltzer. Yeah, that's about it. I don't bring any alcohol into the shop unless I'm doing something like sanding or painting or something that I could do with no power other than the sanding portion. I try to keep it as safe as possible when it comes to that. Just don't want any trouble with it. So no blades moving when alcohol is in the shop. But that's about it. What about you, AJ?
Well, my drink is seltzers, coffee. Pretty much that's it. Maybe a can of soda every once in a while when I'm craving it. But pretty much just caffeine and bubbly water. And then what do I listen to? I'll listen to a mess of different things. I'll listen to our podcast. If I listen to it already, I'll listen to it 3 times. I'll go back and listen to it. So, get some ideas for the next episode and whatnot. I also listen to another woodshop podcast, Wood Talk I listen to. And then I switch it over to Pandora and just go on a real big shuffle. And I go from hardcore rap to rock to Ariana Grande and everything in between. And that's what keeps the flags getting pumped out. So might want to switch over to Ariana Grande. Might get you motivated, Josh.
Might be. Not my thing.
Josh has nothing.
I'm a country boy. Yeah, well, I'm a country boy, so I listen to country, old rock and roll, and some 90s stuff once in a while when things get funny. But that's about it.
I give it to you guys for watching or having a TV on, because I had a TV for 5 minutes in my shop, and I unplugged it and put it in the other room because I couldn't work. I just focused right on it.
Oh, wow.
Well, usually when the TV's on, it's something I've seen 100 times. Like, currently going through all the Twilight Zones, and I watched those as a kid. So, I mean, like, I literally will stop for a second and be like, I remember this episode quite well. and continue. And yeah, you're right. There are times I stop and I stare at it for a moment, but it's usually when the TV's on, it's late at night. I can't make noise anyway, so it's not that big of a deal.
Makes sense.
So usually I don't even have a TV in my shop. I just have my phone. So
Okay.
if there's sports on, I'll listen to a sports broadcast or whatnot. But I'll tell you one thing: don't listen to while you're woodworking in the shop, because you'll drive yourself insane. And that's go on TikTok, and because you have to swipe up, right? And you can't always stop what you're doing and swipe up. So I'll listen to the same thing 34 times in a row and finally get so irritated that I just swipe up. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It's terrible.
I would never even. I have done the Instagram thing where I start a story and I just listen to people's stories as they go. And like, I don't mind the shop sound ones. But there'll be like, you'll be going and you stop cutting and you have the sound going and you hear a saw go and you're like, wait a minute. And then you realize it was a story that you're listening to, because, my Instagram's all woodworking. So, I mean, like once in a while you get that, but
Yeah.
that's as crazy as I get on any social media aspect.
Oh, it's definitely good. I know every once in a while I try catching, I don't remember when he does it, but Pete over at Ptreesworkshop joins Dan from Danieldunlap.woodworks on their lives. And so I actually listened to one that was previously recorded last night while I was downstairs. I was staying in a flag. Just threw that on in the background, and I put the phone down, but every once in a while I catch myself, I'd go over by the phone and start staring at it, and then I'd be like, oh, I got to go back to work. I can't just stand here and not do anything. Because the flags, unfortunately, don't stain themselves. I wish they did, but they don't. So anyway.
But you do it with such grace.
Anyway. I try.
You're doing a really good job.
Thanks, buddy.
But I believe we have some... You're welcome. I'm here to prep you, get you ready
next
for
question.
the next flag. Nick, you want to take the next question or AJ?
I got it. Yeah, so the next question comes from a very good friend of mine down in Delaware. His name is Jesse Four from Jesse Four Woodwork. And he asks, hey guys, I've been learning more and more about CNC work lately. Since I started, I've been doing all of my detail work with a 60-degree V-bit. I'm thinking about making the switch to round nose bits, I'm assuming he means ball nose, of various sizes. Any recommendations or words of wisdom? That's a great question. Any one of you guys want to sound off first?
I'm going to throw it to Josh because I was writing, and I'm going to go look at the question myself right now.
Roger that.
Okay, so mine's going to be pretty short too. So when I first started, I listened to another maker. I don't know if you've heard about him, but Crafted in NJ.
Who?
He basically said that a 60-degree bit would be pretty much what I use for all my engraving. And then he found the 90, and I followed suit, and I tried the 90. And then, and obviously I talked to Nick quite a bit about CNC stuff too, and he's pointing me in different directions for engraving. But currently, I'm in love with a 90-degree bit. I have been using that for all my engraving. It does everything I need it to do. I do have a ball nose bit that I have not tried to engrave with. I saw that Nick has done that before when I was over at his shop. Asked him a couple questions, but 90 degrees where it's at for me at the moment until I get into probably some more advanced stuff. I'm doing some, moderate stuff that doesn't really require a 3D carving bit. But what about you, Nick? I know for a fact you've used it.
Yeah, so I have a spot or a technique for any kind of bit that I use. Sometimes I use different bits to get different effects. But if I'm going to engrave my detail work, my normal go-to is either a 45 or 60-degree V-bit. Now, ball nose bits are great. If I have to get a very, very fine line and not have to worry about going too far down with the V-bit, but I want to get a nice deep carve, I will use my 1/32 inch tapered double fluted ball nose bit from Amanatool. But the only reason I use that bit is because the 1/32 downcut bit has snapped on me so many times that I just don't buy them anymore because they're so expensive, and every time I use it, something happens and it snaps. It's just brittle. So that tapered ball nose is a little bit stronger, and I get almost the same effect where I want to do like badge outlines or any sort of like fine lines. I can use that ball nose bit. But other than that, my larger ball nose bits I'll use for juice troughs in what do you call them? Charcuterie boards or cutting boards?
Charcuterie boards.
Is it charcuterie or charcuterie?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie?
Yeah.
Oh, we just call it
Yeah.
an antipasta tray. There we go. So
It's a serving tray.
it's a serving tray. But that's all I got.
It's a serving tray over here. That's what I use to take all my wine and cheese when I have guests.
Okay.
God damn. I derailed
You
the
talk
whole
about
show.
dad jokes on this side.
Man. I was like, I needed something. I'm surprised Josh didn't laugh. Anyway, sorry, Nick. Sorry I interrupted on this one. I'm just gonna
No
leave
worries.
Now. Good thing you're on the show.
All right, we'll see you. No,
Oh, man.
That was quick. How do you leave this? Is this that red button?
oh.
Anyway.
No, I mean, you use it, Nick. I have one, have not used it. Now, AJ, I think you've used it once, right?
Well, before I get into that, I want to know if I'm looking at your page, Nick, which like the badges that you do, like the instructor badge, are you talking about using the ball nose for something like that or something more just like fine lines?
So very fine lines. So
Okay.
if you're gonna look at like some of the tabs or larger badges, anything with the lines that are very long and deep, and you can use a V-bit for that. That's no problem. The problem lies when you're trying to do a small emblem and that V-bit is just pulling too much. Right? You
Okay.
can go. You can keep going. You can keep reducing your depth on that carve, but eventually you're like, I paint my items first before I throw them on there. Eventually you're just carving paint out. You know what I'm saying? You're no longer carving wood out. So it's just scratching the surface. So if I find that if I use that ball nose bit, it does a good job of getting in, and I could go deeper with the carve and still retain that fine line. Now, is that what it's used for? No. Those ball nose bits that are super small are supposed to be for 3D carving. But I found a home for it in my shop, and it works pretty well. So
You could almost also use, so it's not a true V-bit, because I know I had pretty good luck with it, and I'm thinking Josh is chomping at the bit as well. But it's the 45771, which is the 30-degree engraving bit. And I know you can get pretty fine on that, but you can still you could still see it. Like I did one with in Vectric, they ask you how much pressure you want instead of how much depth. So
yeah,
I put a real light pressure, and I mean it did engrave it. I mean, it was so fine, but you saw it. You know, it wasn't just scratching the surface like you said with the paint. I've never tried the ball nose for something like that. I did a 3D carve that took way too long for what the project was. It worked out extremely well. When we first started talking about this, I truly thought it was that you were doing almost like a flat area clearance with the ball nose, and then instead of using like a V-bit to do what am I? Josh is looking.
No.
Oh.
No, it just that would take forever if you use that to do a clearance.
That's why I was like,
I do a roughing pass and then go back with a fine bit like the ball nose or a 60, 90, whatever.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay,
my clearance,
that's my mistake.
those bits that I use to clear everything out are the down cuts, the 1/4 inch or the 1/8 inch usually.
Yep.
That leaves a nice smooth surface on the cherry wood or the maple that I use.
I actually just picked up a new bit, and it's a true flat bottom bit because the down cuts from Amana, the 46-200 or the 202, is it? Yeah, it's a 202.
It's 202 and a 200.
200's the eighth
flat.
inch, which I actually just broke.
Yeah.
Because I broke it on one of my CNC clamps. But they have little like tips on the bottom of it. So I actually bought a perfectly flat one. It's an eighth inch, and I got to do some small clearance passes on this coat rack that I'm going to be building. So I figured, let me try it out, see how well it works. If the flat bottom works better, then I think I'm going to switch over to that for any area clearance. And that was, I don't have anything else. I don't have any experience with what you guys did. So, you want to move on?
I would like to try the ball nose bit, and I think I'm going to have to, I need to do some like really test carves. I need to try the ball nose. I need to try the 60 versus the 90, and then the 30 on the same logo, and do like like basically just change it out and do them side to side and see how it comes out, because I love how Nick's flags come out. I'm having good results with the 90, but as I get smaller, if the badge gets smaller or whatever, I think I'm going to run into some issues with using the 90. So, more experience and doing some testing is not going to hurt anything. So
Yeah.
I think we should move on to the next question. Let's see. AJ, you want to go for one?
Sure. Well, let me pull it up. It is a question that got sent in by Blacktornconcepts. And his question is, what's a good first CNC project to get your feet wet and work out some troubleshooting along the way? I mean, I'd probably say you could do your own logo if you have one. Then I still have not carved my logo at all on that CNC. The first logo I ever did was Josh's, and I did that, I think, 4 times to get it right before I did it on the flag. But I would say just something small, get cheap bits. That's what I can say. If you never use the CNC and you want to learn, get cheap bits, because you probably are going to break them. I was very cautious because I bought, instead of buying cheap bits, I went right for Amanatools and got them from Toolstoday, ordered a whole ton of them, and that was my first bit set. So I actually, like I said, I broke one just recently. So it's been good. But I think logo. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, that was my first carve. I mean, like with Easel, they have like their little robot icon and your name for your first carve. But I deleted that right away, imported my logo, and went, tried it. It's just one of those things where I didn't know what to carve, and I like my logo, so it was a pretty simple thing. And I have lettering, I have the circle, I have trees, so I have a lot of different items to, experiment with on that one piece. I use only, I think, the 60-degree bit that I had, that was actually from Inventables. And I almost want to counter what you said about getting cheap bits. Now, I got cheap bits, and I don't regret it because, I was able to figure out exactly which ones I wanted. But I would almost rather took the money I spent on the cheap ones and got recommendation from like AJ and Nick, and got the more expensive ones. Because say I got a whole set of bits for, I don't know, I don't remember the price. Let's say $230. Now that $230 translated into a kit from Amanatools or Toolstoday, I could have got really good bits that would last me a long time and something I would use consistently, because I do use certain bits from the kit I got originally, but I don't use them as often as I use the other bits I've gotten purchased later.
You are 100% correct on that. But now let's just say you took a 1/8 inch bit and slammed it right into the piece. Now you're out, I think the 46-200 is like $26 from Toolstoday. So now you just broke that bit. And I'm not saying get like the cheapo where they're, wobbly while they're spinning in that router. Something that's a little bit better price, especially like 1/4 inch. Once you go past that 1/8 inch, down cut, then it's, the price definitely increases. So, I would have been devastated if I bought a 1/4 inch down cut from Amana and then broke it, because I've plunged my router hard into that wood, and luckily it was pine, so it was soft enough where it absorbed it. But, you know, if I broke that bit, I would have been literally crying because it was in the beginning.
I think we've all had our CNC mishaps, but I've definitely had the plunging router issue before, and I think you guys remember that from a past episode, but I had the 1/4 inch downcut bit in there when that happened.
So
Didn't scratch it.
So, I gotta be honest, guys. I found a happy medium. So when I first
So cheap, expensive,
No.
happy medium.
So originally, when I first got my machine, it came with these bits that were garbage. All right, they were like one and done, two, three, maybe carves, and then they're spent. Right. So I was like, well, I don't want to get any Chinesium bits, the stuff that's made from just trash metal. So I ended up researching, and I found out Whiteside out of North Carolina makes fantastic CNC bits for like mid-range. I went and got myself a core, like the Core 4, which would be like your 45, or excuse me, your 90 degree V bit, your 1/4 inch down cut, your 1/8 inch down cut, and I got a 1/4 inch upcut for when I started cutting things out, like profiles out. Those 4 lasted me forever, for a good while at least, and I saw some good results. Then I started, when they started getting dull, you'd notice a little more tear out. So then I started upgrading into the Amanatools. But Whiteside all the way for the novice. I on all 4 of those bits, I think I only spent like $70. So, and that's not bad when you're looking at, $40 for an Amana bit or $20 for a Whiteside bit, or less, depending.
While we're on the Whiteside topic, I have to say, if either of you are in need of a flush trim bit, I picked up a new one from Whiteside, and hands down the best flush trim bit I've ever used. It'll take on wood, no problem. It's 1/4 inch, and I mean, it plows through anything.
Which one did you get? I got the ultimate one the other day.
It's an RFT 2100 upcut flush trim bit, 1/4 inch diameter. I mean, this thing, it looks, it's skinny because it's only 1/4 inch, but I have to say it's great. I have. Wait, the one that you have, is it like a big boy?
It's a big honker. It's got a 1/2 inch shank. It's called the ultimate trim combination bit or compression bit. It was like $180, but I was tired of my Diablo bits just tearing out wood.
I'll never go back to a straight.
Yeah.
Then you said that was a compression bit?
Yes. I'm trying to find the part number or the model number, but Amazon's not giving me that information right here. It's got a bearing on top and a bearing on the bottom. So
I got one like that from Infinity. They got, I think it's called the Mega Flush Trim bit, and that thing's a nasty bit. So I don't mean to derail and go on to from CNC to flush trim, but sometimes with the CNC you do tabs and you have to flush trim them.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
absolutely.
So I have the model number. It's the UDC 9112. That's the 1/2 inch shank, 7/8 inch cut diameter. 1 to 1/8 inch cutting length. I saw it at Woodcraft, right? And I was like, I should buy this. And then I thought, nah, it's too expensive. I'll just get something cheaper. And then I left Woodcraft and they closed their doors behind me and locked them. And I was like, man, I should have bought it. So I went on Amazon immediately and bought it.
Yeah,
I got to give me a good flush trim bit. I have the cheapo kit one, and it's not done any justice at all for some of the tabs and stuff I've had to cut.
I had a flush trim bit kick back on me with the trim router, and when I was when I was routing, I had the router kind of close to my face because I was looking at the edge that I was doing, and it was a piece of oak on my very first guitar stand that I was building. And I went around and the oak grabbed it it literally kicked it. I saw the router bit, and
Wow.
scariest moment of my life. I'll never do that again. The compression bits or the the upcut bits, I will never do straight cut any time because they're too rough on it too. And if you're going the wrong way with the grain, they'll just tear it out.
So I was watching a lot of reviews about this bit, and they're saying that those straight cut bits, they were having a lot of trouble with tear out all around.
Mm-hmm.
So the spiral, the upcut, the downcut spiral, it doesn't matter which one you have, or if you have both in a compression, that shears the wood instead of chops at it. So it gives you a cleaner surface. Even your end result, even if you don't jack up your router job when you're doing a flush trim, if you have a straight bit, it's not going to be as clean as it would be with one of those the ones I mentioned before.
I had minimal sanding on this last guitar stand because I used this flush trim and it worked out fantastic. So I would definitely tell you, Josh, to look into that one. I'll send you the model number, or you want to write it down.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to check it out. Now, we send it to me later. We have some other questions we got to get into before we end this episode. So you want to wrap this last one up?
Vaquero?
Anything else?
Yeah, you want to? No, that was it for the CNC on my part.
Okay. How about Nick?
That's all I got for that particular question.
Cool. So Alex from Vaquerowoodworks wrote in, and he's saying, I'm currently looking to add a router table to my table saw wing and need help picking a lift. He has a DeWalt 618 router with a Delta model number 36-725 Tango 2 table saw for reference. I'm currently looking at the Rockler SL, the Jessam route, our lift, as well as the Incra and Craig lifts. In your opinion, what is the best choice that will provide accuracy and quality? Thanks. So I have the benchtop router table from Bosch, but I know Nick has a router table all set up in his shop. So Nick, what do you got?
So I have a Rockler router lift. I'm trying to see if it's the SL. I don't believe. So I'm looking here. It's not the SL. I have the lower version of the router lift, but it's still phenomenal. It does a great job. I want to upgrade to the SL just because I have a Rockler router table and everything fits. But a couple of things to keep in mind when you're going for a router lift, right? One, will it fit your router? There are some router lifts that don't fit, like oblong routers. I think the Woodpeckers doesn't. Now, Woodpeckers, phenomenal brand. They've got outstanding, all their equipment's outstanding, and they're precise. Incra's really good as well. So if you want to spend the money, I believe the SL is only like $60 cheaper than the Woodpecker router lift. So, you do the math, right? If you want to save for a little bit longer, save your ducats, go pick up that Woodpecker. But you got to make sure it fits your router table as well. So that plate, will the dimensions fit inside your router table? So those are some things I had to make sure. So when I ordered these items, I didn't try and drop a router lift into my router table and the plate not fit in the groove or at least the cutout. But yeah, all good brands. It's really personal preference. I don't remember what the DeWalt router model number looks like that he said he had. But if it's cylindrical, then yeah, it should work with all of them. But just make sure when you order the correct router lift, because a lot of the companies make multiple versions of the same router lift for the different routers. Mm-hmm. So
now, if you don't want to be in the hole for a router lift, because I was looking at the Jessams. I actually want to get one of their miter gauges for the table saw. So, I mean, I'm looking at Jessam for a few things, but then I couldn't justify the price of the router lift, even though it looks like it's amazing. I was sent a Craig router plate and by some guy that I think you know, Nick. You're going to be staying at his house, so just watch out for him. But he sent me a care package one day with the mallet. I believe that was with the mallet too. And that had the router table in it.
Yeah.
Or not the table, the plate. What you could do is you can get...
It was a big package.
Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, sorry, I'm just trying to backtrack a little bit here. So I'm looking on the Rockler website. The SL is the one that I do have. It's it's the lower version. The Rockler Pro Lift is $369 or $370. That one is the one I'm going to upgrade to because you can do a lot more with it as far as popping out the inserts for wider throat area for your bits. And yeah, that's what I'm going with is the Rockler Pro router lift. So if you want the SL, just shoot me a message and we'll see what we can work out if you're looking to pick that one up.
Cool. Well, I might message you myself. But anyway,
Me too.
I won't actually need to because what I'm planning on doing is I have the rigid table saw. It's, their kind of wannabe cabinet saw. And I'm going to put a router table that I've been saying in the extension wing for a long time now. And what I bought is I don't remember what model number router it is, but it's from Bosch. And it's actually kind of convenient that they have a micro adjustment knob. So what a lot of people do is they mount it to the bottom, just a piece of plywood, drill a hole for the router bit, of course, and then they drill an extra hole so they could put the Allen key down, and they micro adjust it like you would a router table. It doesn't come up as high because I know those router tables come up pretty high, so you can adjust, change the bit. Apparently, it comes up high enough so you could change the bit. So, I mean, for the stuff that I'm doing, I'm not changing bits, a ton of times. So it would work out perfect. And like I said, I have that Craig insert plate. So I'm going to just throw it on that. At least then I have a plate that I can always just remove the router out of it instead of it being bolted just to that piece of plywood. But just like everything in my shop, I'll eventually get to it years and years down the road. And the Bosch router, when did I buy that thing? I think before all this stuff happened, COVID and whatnot. And I still have not turned it on.
That was a while ago.
It's
what? Man, you are horrible at that.
It is brand new. It's out of the box though.
It's the one I want, and at least you took it out.
It's brand new, sitting on my bench, just sitting there. The cord is actually still wrapped up. I didn't even plug it in just to try it.
I hear that.
So, go ahead.
To answer the plate and changing the bit, you had to take out the insert plate, and then you gotta have to. It comes up far enough where you can change the bit, but it's not the most convenient. I think you each have to reach underneath a little bit, hit the button, and then change it out.
Or you could just
it's been a while
bend
since
a
I used
wrench.
It's a pain.
Whatever you want to do. It's a pain. The lift's always the better option, but like what you're doing, AJ, is unless I can get that off of Nick, that lift, but I'm going to do something similar to my table saw. I'm going to create a little wing to it, and that's going to be my router table. I was actually just going to use the plate that comes with my tabletop from the Bosch and just utilize that because the old Craftsman I have has the same thing. It has a micro adjustment. When you turn it upside down, you use Allen, and you can raise and lower that as necessary. Nice. But yeah, if you can get a lift, get a lift.
Yeah.
What do you got, Nick?
So I do got one more thing to bring up. So regardless of if you have a lift or not, there's a precision collet made by a company called Muscle Chuck, and it allows you to change the bit without 2 wrenches. All you got to do is take an Allen wrench and slide it into the screw or the bolt or whatever that's on the Muscle Chuck, turn it, and the bit comes right out. You change your bit and then give it a quick turn back to the right, and boom, you're good to go. Lower that lower that router back into the table, and or if you're doing a lot of like plunge routing and stuff like that, it works great. So just giving you a heads up. Look up the Muscle Chuck. It's a good investment. I use it all the time. Saves me tons of time.
That's what you showed me, right, Josh?
Yeah, that's actually basically Nick showed me, and then I went to you. I'm like, this might be a good thing for your CNC.
Yeah.
Because at the time I didn't have a CNC, and I didn't know if it would actually be beneficial for that. Because we were talking about how long sometimes it takes to actually change out
What kind of router?
your bits on the CNC.
What kind of router you got, AJ, on your CNC?
The DeWalt 611, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I emailed the guy from Muscle Chuck. If you're wondering, do they make it for the 611? I emailed him. I was like, sir, I would love to place a custom order for a 611, and he was like, he just responded to the email, no. So that was the only words. Can't do it. Nope. And then that was it. So I think that there's an issue with the size.
Never mind.
Wait, I thought you said you have it, though.
I do, but it's in my router table. I don't have it on my.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What do you have on your router table?
I have the muscle Chuck.
No,
I know,
router.
but what router do you
I have
have?
a Porter cable router.
Okay.
Oh, okay, see.
I got it. Got that off Facebook Market as well.
There was another. Is it the Porter cable router with the plunge base that came in a big plastic case?
No, this one came in a big tin case, like a.
Oh.
It was used.
Probably old boy.
Well, it's not that old. They still make them. So it's new enough to where they actually made Rockler makes the lift for it. I'd have to get the model number for you.
Yeah, those Porter cables are real nice. I got a set from somebody who their son bought it, and it was like, I think they said they used it once, and literally the routers are brand new. The only issue I had was the strain relief. Since it was sitting in the case for so long, the strain relief just dry rotted a little bit, but I picked up a new one and still haven't installed it, and that's been over a year ago.
How many routers you got, AJ?
I got the Porter cable, the Bosch, and the Milwaukee trim, the Bosch trim, and then would we include CNC?
Yeah, go ahead.
So 5.
How many you got there, Josh?
I got the one in my CNC. I have one that I'm changing out the cord for currently from Nick. And then I have the Craftsman and then the Bosch.
I lie. I have 6 of them.
Jesus.
There's the one in that Ryobi router table that I hate.
Still counts. So, funny story about me. Originally, when I first got my CNC machine, I didn't know that routers had to have brushes changed out, and I thought my router died. So I cut the cord on it instead of unthreading it through the drag chain, pulled it out. Yeah, so I just gave that router to Josh. He's gonna.
I appreciate it, man.
Do some
and I feel like
electrical work on it.
No, I just went on eBay and ordered the cord. I'm just replacing the wire.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But
I mean, like, I meant to tell you before the recording, but I feel bad from taking that for you and then buying the $11 cord.
Nah, no worries, man. So I'm going to go through my router list real quick. I got a Bosch, a bigger Bosch. I think it's like a 1.5 horsepower Bosch. I've got the 2 DeWalt 611s. I got one of the smaller Bosch trim routers. I got the Milwaukee cordless router, the one that runs off the M18 batteries. Mm-hmm. That baby, I love that router.
Yeah,
and then I got the router in my router table, which is the Porter cable. So I'm rich with routers, just like AJ over there.
Yeah, I really want to get myself another either trim or a big boy, because the Craftsman's great, but I mean, like, I like to take that out and use that for like any kind of, big jobs. Have another trim router, so when I'm doing, different edges or whatnot, and then something for a router table. So probably sometime next year or two, I'm probably going to get at least 2 more routers of some sort.
I mean, honestly, when you're in the middle of a project, the last thing you want to do is reconfigure or pull a router out of a table or do something like that takes that much time. So everybody needs at least 6 routers. I'm a firm believer. I got to have one for your CNC. Well, you got to have 2 just in case one goes out, right?
Or
then
just
you gotta
extra
have
brushes.
or extra brushes. You got to have a plunge router. You got to have a router for your router table and the fixed base trim router. Yeah, easy. You just go ahead and justify it.
Router for days.
Got to justify it to your wife why you need 6 routers.
Well,
I really want to get a. I have the Dewalt platform, so I would like to get a cordless one router of those, and but they're like $200 for them, and it's just like they're expensive.
Bare tool or with batteries?
I think bare tool. I would have to double check the price.
For which platform? The DeWalt?
DeWalt.
Yeah, the Milwaukee.
Let me double check
the
that.
Milwaukee bare
They're
tool is only
expensive.
like $140, I think.
Yeah, but then
I want to buy 2 more. One to keep a flush trim in, and then one to keep a keyhole in. And just to make my life easy, instead of swapping bits out, then you have them at the ready.
Let's just get a different router for each one of our bits.
Trust me.
The DeWalt 20 volt max is $198.
Yep.
That's insanity. That's a lot of money for essentially a 611.
I would have, if I got the Milwaukee brand, I would have to go home and buy some batteries. It would be an entire thing.
I understand. If you
it
already
would
have
be at $200.
Well, why don't you see if you can get one
there.
used off the market?
Exactly.
I have been. I've been looking. They're about 135-ish off the market. But I'm looking for that steel, almost like what you got. I think you got that one router for what, $70?
Yeah, I picked up a 611 yesterday for $75 American.
Wow. You always have to add that in there, just in case we were using yen.
Well, for our international listeners, I'm just saying.
I have plenty of yen if you want yen. I'll pay you in yen.
Now,
I'll trade
you're
it.
looking... Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
You're looking at the Max HR. Don't they have one that's like a base? I almost said baser model. Isn't it like a lesser model than the HR Max or XR Max?
I'm sure they do. That was the first one that pulled up when I typed it in Amazon. But when I look at Lowe's and I go walking around in there, that's what I see is about $200.
Yep.
And that's why, like, for that price, I can still use corded for now.
Mm-hmm. It's getting to the point where the cords are taking over, and then that cordless is just. I'm blown away by how powerful that cordless is and how smooth it is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, I would like to go mostly cordless in the shop, but I think I'm gonna wait until another Black Friday and get one of the package deals and get basically replace the skilled tools I currently have. That way, like, I'm getting exactly what I want. And I was looking out for the package deals this Black Friday, and they were like $350, I think, ish.
Wow.
And yeah, but I mean, I think you would get like 4 or 5 tools and then the router. But basically, I'm on the lookout to see if I can get a good price for one. That's what it comes down
Did
to.
you hear that, DeWalt?
I can
listening?
wait.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to give me the same price as they give everybody, maybe 10% more.
Look, man, just bite the bullet and come over to the red side.
Milwaukee, I love the Milwaukee M18.
If I could find some red tools that were, fairly cheap, I would go ahead and bite the bullet and buy the batteries. You're absolutely right.
Marketplace.
But I just haven't.
You know what?
I have been looking.
I'll tell you what. If you're looking for batteries at a severe discount for the M18 lineup, go on eBay. eBay sells brand new tools or brand new batteries. A lot of times, pawn shops and stuff sell a tool and they don't sell the battery with it, and they sell the battery separately on eBay. So I got your 12 amp hour M18 batteries. I got 2 of them for like $150, which I think they're at least $110 or $120 a piece.
Yeah, they're up there.
Like even before that, when they only had the 9 amp hour batteries, I bought 2 of those for $100 and something dollars. It was insane discounts, but you got to have a little faith in the company that you're buying it from. Otherwise, you get that cheap Chinesium battery, and that thing won't fit in the router, or it'll die, or whatever.
That's what I'd be a little scared of buying off eBay or even Marketplace, because Marketplace has these batteries like,
Yeah, but
for like $60, and they're like,
but you wouldn't get the ones that would ship to you. I'm talking like it goes somewhere so you can, see it.
You can test it out.
At least if it's...
Yeah, but I mean, eventually these batteries die. They might be a contractor, and the battery's like only charging to 50%, and then they're selling it.
Well, if the battery's all beat up, you're not, and they're advertising it as new, you walk away and tell them to go sell it to somebody else.
True. I mean, there's 100 different ways you can go about doing it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So,
So 6 routers. That's the word on the street is you need to have 6
No,
to
you
be a
need-
woodworker.
you need
so I guess
more.
I'm out.
yes.
There's always room for more. It's like Jell-O.
Never heard that one before, but okay. Okay.
You never heard
We'll
there's
roll
always
with
room
it.
for Jell-O?
Nope.
So we have one more question I'll get to, and then I think we can wrap up this episode. It's from Joyful Inker's Homestead. He videoed us and was asking about doing major projects. So you have a huge project, you're in a rush, you go through it. Afterwards, I know myself, I'm part of this. My shop is a complete disaster. So I usually, what would motivate you to clean that up and get ready for the next project? For me, it's pretty simple. If I don't have it clean, I tend to procrastinate and not want to go out there for another project. And or I can't find something and end up cleaning up the whole shop, finding it, and then it being where it's supposed to be. So that pretty much sums it up for me. AJ, what's your take on this?
I don't really necessarily clean up after a project. I want to every time, and then it never happens, and then that pile of stuff grows and grows and grows. And actually, I was surfing through Instagram the other day, and some guy took a picture of his bandsaw next to his drill press, and his drill press was filled with stuff. And then the next picture, there was no stuff on the drill press, and he said, how many of you do this? And then I looked to the left, and there was the stuff from the drill press on the bandsaw. And I was like, it was a lot of stuff, too. It wasn't like one or two things. And I'm going like, that's exactly what I do. I take it from one location and just keep moving it, not to the spot that it needs to go, but somewhere else that's going to get in my way later on. What about you, Nick?
Totally. I'm always working on 4 or 5 different things at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I have a variety of tools strewn about. It's very rare that all my tools are put away. So I just find a way to work in a flow and try my best to keep things off the ground. If I keep it on the ground, I'm tripping over it, and that's a hazard. But and again, if I'm using the router table, I'm not going to have anything on it while I'm using it, or same thing with the table saw. But my lumber rack, that acts as a makeshift shelf. So,
of course,
I would love to have a clean
pro tip.
I would love to have a clean shop all the time, or at least in between projects. But I'm constantly going. Everything flows into each other. Plus, I only have a small garage, and I have all this equipment jammed into it. So I have to do what I can.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how that is at all.
Mr. I have like how many? He doesn't have a lot of routers, but he has a lot of benches.
Not anymore.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm a little late.
I have the same amount of benches, but they're utilized completely different now.
But you still have the benches.
Yes, but they're being utilized in such a way where I don't have to move any tools to use them.
Okay. Well,
Utilization of space.
definitely. Well, on that note, I do believe that we're going to be hitting our marker. So, you want to start wrapping?
Yeah, we should wrap this one up.
Okay. It's on you.
Well, first of all, let's thank our sponsors once again, Total Boat and Sticker Beat. Both great companies, and we said a lot about them in the beginning of the episode. If you haven't checked them out, it only takes 5 seconds to look them up on Instagram, and I guarantee before you're done, you're going to be trying some of their products. It's one of those things where when we get sponsors, we look into it, we use their products, we've been using their products, and we wouldn't allow them to be sponsors or even ask for them to be sponsors if we didn't back them 100%.
Mm-hmm.
We can answer some of the questions that you might have about their products, but both of their customer service is top notch, and they will get back to you within the day, if not that week. And they are experts, and they can steer you in any direction that you need to be steered to complete your projects.
Definitely.
So big thank you to Totobo and Stickerbeat. And with that,
If you want to get in contact with us, you can reach us on Instagram. You can reach myself over at Crafted in NJ. You can reach Josh over at North Country Woodworking, or you can reach our newest member to the Sawdust Nation Army, Josh from Nick from MPG Creations on Instagram. I was just rolling with it and didn't really think of names. So anyway, reach us on Instagram. You can also send us an email at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a Sawdust Nation podcast Instagram, so you can DM us there as well. All three of us are tied to we're all married in one way or another. We all have access to it, and Josh is shaking his head no, but Nick says yes. So send us your questions, comments.
there's a song there.
And anything else you got, one way or another, it'll make it on the podcast. And if you do send us a question, definitely send it in a voice recording. If you don't want your voice being heard over the Sawdust Nation airwaves, you can just send it to us in a DM, and one of us will read it and probably screw it up in some way, shape, or form. And then if you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating because Nick says so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 stars.
There you go. 5 stars. No less.
We practice this.
No more. 5-star. And with that, I'm going to say bye-byes, everybody. No, actually. Nick, you got anything else? I forgot final words.
Oh, my final thought is take care of yourselves and each other. Till next time.
With that, I'm out. I can't even say bye-byes. That was a good one.
Everyone take care. Looking forward to seeing you next time. And make sure you welcome Nick to the Sawdust Nation crew. DM him, light his messages up, and Sawdust Nation out.
I got nothing. That's it.
Yep. That's a
That
wrap.
was good. That was good.
Yo, smash that subscribe button. Smash it.
Yo, that piece of ash was phenomenal when I picked it up. It was the best piece of ash for $35. I'm not kidding.